back. Welcome back to my home. My name is Lynn Wilson, and today we're going to talk about 7 mistakes that I have made in my stockpile. You know, one of those things they say, what is stupid? Stupid's doing the same thing over and over and not making a change. Well, sometimes we get really, really stupid with our stockpiles. And so I wrote down a few things that for me have been problem areas of my stockpile. Why am I even bringing this up? Because maybe this will help you make some of the choices that you need to make a better stockpile for yourself and for your family. So let's get into this. The first thing is not taking a complete inventory. So if I need to go and order food online, or I need to go to the grocery store, or whatever the case might be, how many of us think, oh, let me just throw down a few things that I need, or a random list might happen, or you might say, oh, I pretty much know what I need. I don't know how many times I've said that. I pretty much know what I need, I'm fine. And it turns out that I'm not pretty good at what I need, because when is the last time I actually looked at my stockpile? Many of us go in, we get a jar of sauce, we get a bag of pasta, get a can of tuna, and we're not really accounting for how many cans did we have, how many cans have we used in the last 3 to 6 weeks, how much is left, and so on and so forth. So I highly recommend, when you are going to do a good haul for shopping, where you want to fill up on the stockpile, get yourself a list and maybe have one that you've organized on how many of each items you want, or however you do it. Just do yourself a favor and do a complete inventory. The next thing is, I bought too much of one thing. So maybe I went and there was a great, looking pasta, and I went and bought 20 boxes of a pasta, but I never bought sauce. Or it was, oh, look at all these canned goods of corn. Let me get, 30 cans of corn. And they really look good. But then I never got peas or green beans, so I don't have enough of a variety. So I've made the mistake of getting too much of one thing and not enough of a balance. Finding things that are on sale that I don't need. Oh, how many of us have done that? Oh, that's a great deal. It might be a great deal, but I don't need it. There have been times I've seen a great deal, and it might be something I use on the occasion versus on the regular. And then what did I do? I went out and splurged, and I bought all these products of things that I don't really use. And then later I look at that and I'm like, why did I buy this? We don't even eat this. But it was a good deal. How many of us have fallen into that trap of, well, it was on sale and it was a really good deal? Granted, it's good to get things on sale, and it's great if you can get a really good deal. But if it's not something you're going to eat, why are you getting it? Or maybe it's something you would eat on occasion, then great. Get some and to put on hold, or some for the future, but don't go wasting money on a bunch of things that you're really not going to eat. Another thing is not keeping up with our family's current eating trends. Now, you could be a family of one, so are you keeping up with your own trend? Are you keeping up with the fact that, how many times we used to eat a vegetable and we've gone off that vegetable? Maybe you used to love peas, and whether it's canned peas or frozen peas or however you buy your peas. But you're really not into peas anymore. You're really into green beans. But you're not keeping up with your trends, and you'll go and you'll buy things to fill your stockpile because, well, you're supposed to have cans of peas. Or I should have so many bags of frozen peas. But if you're not eating them, why are you getting them? And I find there are things that my husband and son aren't interested in eating anymore. Sometimes you enjoy things for a season, or sometimes you just get sick of it. For example, pumpkin spice coffee. We all love our pumpkin spice coffee. But I'll tell you, after a few weeks of pumpkin spice coffee, you're kind of like, let me get another flavor. So don't buy boxes and boxes and boxes of pumpkin spice coffee, because your family is only going to enjoy that for a while, and then you're going to get sick of it, and you need a change of pace. So I need to keep up with the current trends of my family. There are things that we have enjoyed for a season, maybe it's a seasonal food, and we don't want to keep just buying the same old thing and stocking up on that because it's a seasonal food. Or maybe there's a certain kind of candy or cookie or snack that you know that you'll enjoy. One of the things I find myself doing is I just see, like I said, a good sale or it's a good buy, and I'm like, oh yeah, let me stock up on that. Well, everything within parameters and everything within boundaries. I'm not saying not to have a stockpile, and I'm not saying not to fill it up and to fill it up well, but you have to really know yourself and know your family. What will you honestly eat in a length of time that you're trying to stock up? Like if you're doing a 3-month stockpile, a 6-month, a year, a 2-year stockpile, whatever your stockpile is, then just buy what you think would be a good, adequate amount. But if it's something that can spoil, or it's something that you're not going to buy cookies that are for 2 years. The cookies are not going to last that long. So just be careful what you're purchasing and stay current with the trends of your family and yourself of what you're enjoying eating. Another thing is letting my items get too low. That goes really back to keeping up with a good inventory. I can do all the right things. I can have the perfect list. I can have the perfect systems in place. But if I don't use those systems, then, shame on me, because then my stockpile will suffer. So running too low on things, right now I have a good stock of tuna fish. But there was a time where I used to buy, I think it was a 6-pack or maybe an 8-pack of tuna, and I would get that like one every 6 weeks. And that seemed to just keep enough on hand for us to eat, like a can or 2 a week, which is probably what we do, and then always have enough for a tuna casserole and still have more cans on hand. And I remember months and months ago, my husband said, oh, let's make tuna for lunch. And he said, we don't have any. I'm like, I always have tuna on hand. He said, we don't have any. Oh, you're not looking in the right place. And I hunted. I had no tuna fish, which is very unusual for me. There's times I've ran out of pasta sauce. Now, yes, you can make homemade, but we like the jar sauce. We also like the convenience. But just those things that, things that you would use on a consistent basis. There might be things that you run out of, let's say, something like evaporated milk, or maybe a certain cake mix, or I don't even know what. But there are things that you don't use often enough that you're going to keep tons and tons of it. But keeping track of the items that you use on a consistent basis, and making sure not only do you have enough to get you through however your shopping is every 2 weeks or once a month, keep it consistent that you have enough food to get you through that month. But then how are you doing your stockpile? Are you purchasing food for 3, 6 months, maybe a year to 2 years worth of food? Well, if you want to have, let's say, 25 cans, let's just say that would get you through for 2 years, and you're down to 6 cans. You got a long way to go before you can get that back up to 25 cans. So I think just thinking through things like that. Another thing is passing up on good sales. And I just said, well, before, if it's a great buy or a great sale and I'm picking them up, well, there are other things that I've been to Walmart and went and said, oh, that's a great deal. And that's something I would use, and I maybe bought 1 or 2 items. And then I got home, or maybe a week later, I went, what was I thinking? That was a great deal. And instead of buying maybe a case of something and really stocking up, even if I didn't need it right now, but it is something I know we'll use on a regular basis, that would not, like, let's say, pasta sauce, or certain can of fruit, or certain can of vegetable, or something, I don't know what, that it was such a great deal, and I bought 2 versus maybe a case of them. If I had the money, I really should stock up, because I know it's something I'll use all the time. The last thing, not utilizing what I have. I think this is probably my worst problem that I have with my stockpile. So I have a pretty good variety in my stockpile, and I have a pretty good amount in my stockpile. For me, I think for our family, we're okay. But when it comes time to making dinner or making a meal, you're tired, you don't feel like it, and you pick and you pull and this and that. I have to remember, I have a stockpile, and it's to be used, and it's to be used in a balance. Use the cans of vegetables with the rice and the pasta and the potatoes. Use the fruit with different things. Make sure you're rotating the foods. Make sure you're using a variety of foods. We all need a variety of foods in our diet. If all we ate was rice and pasta, our health would not be the best, and our internal system would not be the best. You need to get the fruits in there. You need to get the vegetables in there. You need to get the spices in there just to make things palatable and tasty. And you want to make sure that you're just enjoying the fruits of your labor. No pun intended there. You've worked hard on building this stockpile. You've worked hard on couponing and shopping and getting all the great deals and rotating the food and dusting it and keeping it neat and clean. Then enjoy eating the food. I've said this before, many of us feel guilty that I've got this beautiful stockpile in this container or this cabinet or whatever the case might be, and we tend to not want to eat from the stockpile because it'll either mess it up and that one can will be missing, and then you feel like you automatically have to replace it and so on. I tried to set my stockpile up so that if I know in this amount of time I will use this amount of that food. Again, let's just take if you have a 2-year stockpile, if you have a 6-month, a 3-month, maybe you only have room for a 1-month stockpile, and in 1 month you're going to eat 4 cans. Well, you don't want to just have 4 cans because that's more of a pantry amount. You want a stockpile amount. I would go with 8 cans, and you want to have 8 so that you always have if you're doing a stockpile pantry for 1 month, you have the 4 that you would use, and you have 4 as a backup. That would give you at least 1 month that you did not have to go out. If there was an emergency, you didn't have money, and so on. So, just be careful how you're using your stockpile. And maybe what would be helpful is actually doing what I did and writing down what are the problem areas that you're seeing. Are you buying too much of something you'll never use? Are you not buying enough of what you should have? Are you having holes in your stockpile? We have tons of cans of fruit, but you don't have enough cans of vegetables. You have tons of rice, but you don't have potatoes or pastas and things like that. You want to have a variety in your diet, not only for your health, but a variety in your diet because you want to be able to enjoy each meal and not go, oh, not that again. Oh, rice again? Well, maybe you overbought rice and now you've been eating it for 3 weeks consistently. Well, after a while, everybody's going to go, I'm sick of eating that. So you want to have a variety of things that you can add. So I think writing down your problem areas sometimes really helps you think through, what do I need to change? How can I do it better? My stockpile is ever and always evolving. I'm always striving to make it better, to make it work better for me, to see how other people do it, to get new and fresh ideas. Thanks for joining me today. I hope this is helpful. I hope this will help you think through. Now that for us here in New Jersey, we're heading into the fall and the winter season in a matter of 6 to 8 weeks, which is not that long away. And I am starting to rethink, okay, stockpile, stocking up for the winter season, hitting those discount grocery stores. What am I going to want to put in my stockpile? So I think I better look at my notes and make sure I'm following my own advice. Thanks so much for coming over. We'll catch you all on the next video.